Rusty Cage, wasn't that a Soundgarden song? Hello, welcome to the Battle and Barrow and another terrain making guide. Getting near the sort of end of our D&D Night's Dark Terror adventure, and in that we are entering the temple, and it needs a rusty cage that is suspended by a chain from the ceiling over a pit. Pits are easy, we've done those before in the terrain guides, but the rusty cage suspended by a ceiling, we don't have ceilings in our terrain to suspend things from, so I'm going to have to come up with an idea for that. The cage itself should be straightforward. I've actually built cages before, don't see any difficulty in that. But yeah, let's get grafting then. For this, I'm going to need 2 bits of 6mm foam, both 4cm by 4cm. Use as top and bottom of our cage. Going to need some barbecue skewers. I've divided these up into 6 centimeters, so I deemed that high enough to sort of eyeballed it. Hopefully glue them into here and into there about that much. And if you were a person, or Hugo, that's enough so you don't get in, you can't get out. So, yep. So what I'm going to do is chop a load of these up. What my plan is to use a point just to do an initial hole in each corner, and then a hole, I don't know how much I should do, I might make them, yeah, hole in the center, and just eyeballing this, and a hole in the middle of each one, so we've got quite a few bars. You don't want it too small so the prisoner can escape. With that many holes, and then what I should do is then, once I've cut them, I shall come in and make the hole bigger, and we shall glue them in with a hot glue gun, but for now it's about right. Snippy snip. Before we begin on the construction, I'm just going to paint these bits. I want them to be a dark metal colour. Probably should have done this before I did the holes, but yeah, it will just give it time to dry before I can do construction. But it'll make it easier to paint, because once you've got all the bars and getting inside, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. So I'm only going to do the inside really effectively. I can allow these to dry, hopefully put them somewhere in the sun so they dry quick. Likewise, I'm going to paint these now, get these painted and undercoated before we get going with the actual construction of them. And now I'm just going to paint it silver. Any washes and what have you, dry brushing can be done once it's assembled, but I just want to get this bit done. It's going to be very hard to get inside once all the bars are in place. Whilst waiting for all that to dry, we can make the sort of final component we're going to need, and that is going to be the chain that is going to suspend the cage above the hole. For this, I've just got a bit of costume jewelry metal chain. I'm never going to paint it, I'm going to leave it like this. It's old, it's patinaed. But how we're going to get it to be straight and sturdy, because it's a chain. For this, a straightened paper clip. What I'm going to do is take one end, thread it through the top link, and work out how long I want it to be. So I'm going to just hold it into place, work out what link I want it to be, probably something like that long. We then let go of the end bit and thread all that part of the paper clip through to here. Just double check that that's going to be the right length. I think that will do. Coming with some hot glue, and this will hurt, I am sure, because hot glue and fingers never work out. I'll allow that to dry a bit before coming in as tight as possible. Hot glue here, and maybe just running a bit of hot glue along. Actually, not too much, I don't want it to be seen. From the front, we now have a very sturdy chain. We'll let that dry, and I shall cut this part off with the chain and this part off at the top, and to leave this bit exposed here for now, I'm going to shorten it down. That will help us attach this to the top of the cage. We can now assemble the cage itself. So I've made the holes already, as I saw earlier. It's a case of putting a bit of hot glue in, putting them in, doing sort of 2 at a time really. I want to make sure I'm getting them sort of straight and even. It's just a case of doing that for all the holes. I won't bore you with this. So next up, we need to attach the lid to the top of the cage. You could go through the goulding process of trying to dig holes into it, pushing it in here to get it to line up, but it seems too much effort for what you get out of it. So I'm just going to come in and really use hot glue really and do it that way. Just put a bead of hot glue all around the edge here, and then just pop it on. There are times you've got to ask yourself in terrain building, is this worth my time? Can I utilise that time somewhere else? And this is definitely a case where yes, you can. So let's just go for this. Make sure they're all in roughly weight to the same place. Yeah, it's now a cage in a dungeon. Doesn't have to look too pretty. Sure, the cage inspectors of this dungeon are more than adequate with this. This was a major centerpiece, and yeah, spend a bit more on, but if it's just for a bit of scattered terrain, this is going to suffice. Whilst we got the hot glue gun, we can take our chain that's cut down, pop it into there. So all I'm going to do is a bit of hot glue gun, bit of hot glue on the end of this. On the paper clip, push it through, and there we are. Cage that is suspended. Of course, we need to get it to look like it actually is suspended. For this, I'm going to use a Games Workshop flight base, I think they're called. So I'm just going to, probably better doing this with super glue, but heck, got the hot glue gun out. And this will just be a case of putting a hole into it here. And what I ideally like is not to be able to glue it in, but it looks like I'm going to have to glue it. So it would be nice just to use this as a, but ho hum, let's glue it. As it is, the whole point of it is it's meant to be suspended into the ceiling. We'll hold that in place, and with that we can just age it up a bit with some washes, rust it up. Up to you if you want to do that, or you could call it done. Let's add a bit of rust. For this I'm just going to use Right Click and Flesh Shade. That's my go-to rust method. There are probably technical paints that will do it better, but I kind of like it, so we're just going to, nothing too heavy. Just some of that metal shining through, and with that it's pretty much done. yeah, really happy with it. Simple, it doesn't look... There's bits where it's a bit wonky here. There's no door. Shh, won't mention that. But just for a quick and easy bit of scatter terrain where the description is there is a cage hanging from a pit over a pit in the room. This will get you out of trouble. Also in this adventure, but you don't have to make it if you don't want to, if you're just making a cage, but you know, it requires a blue flame, a ring of blue fire around the base. For this, I'm just going to get a tile and get a hot glue gun and sort of do a row of flame with it, doing it with a hot glue gun. Ideally, if I had a long tile, I would do this in one piece. I'm going to do it in 4 little smaller pieces, and then once it's dry, peel them off the tile and then get the hot glue gun at the back and connect them together. Likewise, when they're all together as one piece, I'm just going to put it into a circle ring and connect it together with a bit more hot glue gun at the back. Then just come in with some blue ink just to keep it see-through as much as possible, and just give it a nice good wash with this blue ink. And that is the ring done. That's how it would look. I'm just going to put that on the board. Simple, quick, easy, somewhat effective. I also made a quick winch. I'm not going to go into detail on this. It is just a bamboo skewer through the centre with some polystyrene bits here. And I just found some plastic wheels in my bits box as the winch bits, and then the rest of the chain I just did in the same way as we've done before, with the paper clip, and wrapped it around just to act as going up into the ceiling. Simple. So we have a look at it set up in the pit. Cool. Before we do that, I'd like to take time to thank you for watching, and if you're a subscriber, thank you for subscribing, and if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button for me, that'd be lovely. Thank you to all the patrons that allow me to make builds and save my wife from screaming at me. Until the next video, guys, stay safe and take care.